what did I do? Okay, cancel. Okay, I wonder what that is. Oh, you can, interesting. So you can just add programs up here? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Instead of moving them around, maybe. Maybe that's easy. Anyway. So I was looking into, they talked about this Protestant thing that the king said before he went for the crown. And let's see if I search on it. And I did find some information. I really liked it because it's in regards to the Eucharist and the cookie Jesus, in regards to the Roman Catholics, or what they believe, in regards to all this nonsense and all that. And I wanted to read it, so I thought I would just see if we can go a little out there. Yep. So the first thing would be the name in regards of a person, whatever king. It does seem there was some more in regards of when Tom Fresh was reading it. He talked about a little more in regards to Scotland and England, the king of, and he's taking these nations as well. I think that was like 3 or something like that. But anyway, this doesn't have it. It just, but it does. Okay. Anyway, so I, King whatever, do solemnly and sincerely, in the presence of God, profess, testify, and declare that I do believe that in the sacrament of the Lord's Supper there is not any transubstantiation of the elements of bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ, at or after the consecration thereof by any person whatsoever, and that the invocation or adoration of the so-called Virgin Mary or any other saint, so-called saints, and the sacrifice of the Mass. They just totally concentrate these things, It's very nice. They knew a little, or at least, they knew a lot more than we know today. So, and the sacrifice of the Mass in regards to the Catholics and in regards to the cookie Jesus, that they think to sacrifice him all over for the dead and the living again and again and again and again and again and again. It's just, instead of Jesus dying once and for all for the sins of the world. Anyway, apparently they didn't understand that. They didn't get that, apparently. Anyway. And the sacrifice of the Mass, as they are now used in the Church of Rome, are superstitious and idolatrous. Idolatrous. I agree. And I do solemnly, in the presence of God, profess, testify, and declare that I do make this declaration, and every part thereof in the plain and ordinary sense of the words read in unto me, as they are commonly understood by English Protestants, without any evasion, equivocation, or mental reservation whatsoever. Equivocation. I wonder in regards to that word. Equivocation. They knew a lot of these, a lot of words, in the mental reservation whatsoever. And without any dispensation already granted me for this purpose by the Pope, or any other authority or person whatsoever, or without any hope of any such dispensation from any person or authority whatsoever, or without thinking that I am or can be acquitted before God or man or absolved this declaration or any part thereof. Although the Pope or any other person or persons or power whatsoever should dispense with or annul the same or declare that it was null and void from the beginning. That does seems, a little in regards of maybe an oath, and we're not we shouldn't, our yes should, maybe it's not, in regards of, if your yes is a yes and your no is a no. So if he doesn't believe that the cookie, but he's not saying that he swears or anything, but he is saying in regards of in front of God. So I'm not entirely sure how to, but the information in it whatsoever, it's interesting because it shows that that they're rejecting the Eucharist, the cookie Jesus. England knew some things in regards of these things. It's very wonderful to see. And where are we today? I do wonder if England, understood that this is, only symbolic. Why did Denmark? Why is it we had this former reformer or Protestant in Denmark? Why didn't anyone listen to that guy? He knew a thing or two, it seems. Having been in Wittenberg and coming back and known in the world as the great Danish light, and then he's just getting fired because he don't believe in the cookie Jesus, because Luther still had some issues in regards to that, and Melanchthon, as I understand it, continued, and yet people apparently went backward in regards of Martin Luther instead of actually going forward. It wasn't, the idea of the protest was not just to, here and no further. And that's the stupidity of today, because we're still keeping Christ Mass and Easter and, now Halloween as well, right? And the pagan New Year and, all this paganism, because, we didn't go further. 500 years to read the Bible, and this is all we get in this nation. We should really be ashamed. The Danish people should be so ashamed. Yeah, you guys out there, Danish people looking at this, if anyone is looking anyway, we should be ashamed. Because we have not gone further. Like 500 years to read the Bible and what is in the Bible. And we're not keeping the festivals of Jehovah. And we're not keeping the Sabbath found in the Bible. We are so out of, what is going on? 500 years. Is 500 years not enough? It's like, why? It's like going back to, the idea of the protest was not just, go this and no further. The idea was to pull rope from Satan and continue to pull rope from Satan. And not just, drop it and let Satan take so much back. And now no one knows who the Antichrist is. And yet we have huge amount of history, and those reading the history and knowing that the history actually exists and so forth, it's like they're just making fun of it, it's just so radicals, and they're like, totally, soullessy or whatever. I'm kidding. It's just, why no one telling our children these things? Why are we not knowing? It's just interesting, because I went down to this Lutheran gathering, just, and asked questions, and I couldn't find a single one that knew who the Antichrist was. This was a Lutheran these was multiple Lutheran congregations getting together, and the only one I found was, that, where I didn't really, need to put out leading, help to the people where just needed a little bit of squeeze in some sense, and he then, he knew. So that was nice. But why wouldn't he just, be totally upfront about it if he, it's just because it's not something popular to speak about. You just look at people when you talk about it, Do you know who the Antichrist is? Do you know who the Protestants protested? It's like, and the people are like either running away from you or just giving you the cold shoulder, It's just, they don't even want to know about it, And that's just incredible. What is going on with this? It's a total nutcase. It's just a total nutcase world. This is just insane. So, and then toilet. I haven't read it all. I haven't actually pretty much read anything of it. I just read this. Maybe. No. I read the all. Okay. So it's nice to see that they rejected transubstantiation and of the elements of bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ. I would totally agree. This is only symbolic that you break the bread and drink the wine. Drink a little wine, Or at or after the consecration thereof by any person whatsoever, and that the invocation or adoration of so-called Virgin Mary or any other saint. So you have multiple saints, and this saint is good to this, and this so-called saint is good to that, and this... Hey, have you heard about demons being out there deceiving people? And you don't think Satan is out there still today trying to deceive people? So some people call it necromancy. That we're told not to do. Talk to the dead and so forward, because the dead are not really the dead. The dead are the demons. Deceiving people. They're coming in many disguises. Same with the so-called Mary thing and what is it called? And Luther knew about that. Luther talks about that as well in the 1500. Nothing is new under the sky. It's just the same bullshit in some sense. Of course, does Satan have a way of trying different, but it's still lies, deceptions and all that. But let's see if we can find it quickly here in regards of it. Where Luther talks about it, and this is like 1536. I can't remember. It's so much. Here we have in regards of invoking angels and saints, but I'm not sure if that's actually the thing here in regards to demons. Although the angels in heaven pray for us as Christ himself also do, and in the same way also the saints on earth, and perhaps those in heaven pray for us. I still have some issues in regards of his doctrines here, but anyway, we have to remember this is it does not follow from this that we ought to invoke angels and saints, pray to them, keep fast and hold festivals for them, celebrate masses, make sacrifices, establish churches, altars, or worship service for them, serve them in still other ways, and consider them as helpers in time of need, assign all kinds of assistance to them, and attribute a specific function to a particular saint, as the papers teach and do. This is idolatry. Such honor belongs to God alone. Anyway, that wasn't, I was talking about in regards, but where is in regards to the demons, where it talks about the demons, in regards of the, these, oh, yeah, wait, that's something. Yeah, let's see. It's not. Anyway, but if you want to look into it, it's nope. Can't find it at the moment, but it's in the document someplace. Any case, I know I read it, and I know it's in there somewhere. But, Luther knew in regards to these apparitions of so-called Mary, Of course, it's the demons that is behind these things. Okay, we have in regards of transubstantiation and including of Mariolatry and the sacrifice of the Mass, and also against any evasion, equivocation, or mental restoration whatsoever, which dispensation from the Pope might be presumed to authorize. This oath has administered to the King by the Lord Chancellor. The words of the important statutory declaration as made and signed by King Edward on February the 14th, 1901 at the opening of Parliament are as follows. So they're taking in regards of Edward in 1901. I do wonder if they're still actually using that. I think it was like they had used it for at least 200 years or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I heard something in regards to that. But I wanted to find it, but because, it's always interesting to actually see what they actually, I would be in total agreement with this, in regards of, maybe not in regards of, it seems like a little of an oath, but, as long as you don't, it's still, it says in regards of in front of God. I'm not entirely sure how, you're not saying that, that I swear or anything, and your yes should be yes, and your no should be no, and no swearing, or in regards of, using God as an, evidence for telling the truth and all that. But anyway, the information, whatever the case, the information is still very interesting. And I guess, if you had a document and you agree to it, and you don't swear that you agree to it, that you just say, yeah, I agree to that. Well, that wouldn't be an oath, would it? It wouldn't be a swearing word. I'm still learning, because if someone says something to me and they say, yeah, yes, that's true, well, that's not an oath or anything like that, or, I'm just agreeing to it, If someone comes and say, hey, do you believe that the Pope is the Antichrist, or the so-called Pope is the Antichrist, I will say, yeah, I believe in that. Absolutely. Do you believe the whole of Revelation is Rome? So I'll say, yeah, I believe in that. Do you believe Jesus is God's Son and God in the flesh? Yes, I believe in that. So that's not taking an oath. There's just, yeah. It's just, yeah, and the no, or nay, yeah, nay. Yeah, okay. So I guess if I write it down on paper what I actually believe and I confirm what I believe, that wouldn't be an oath, would it? It would be just a document saying, yes, is what I believe, and I can sign that with my name, and I believe in that. Yeah, that wouldn't be an oath. Or swearing or anything, it's just... Okay, anyway, so we had transubstantiation, Mariolatry, the sacrifice of the Mass, and against any evasion, and apparently that was in regards to this, that the Pope, thinking himself to be the King of Kings and Lord of Lords and so forward, apparently think he has the ability, he has, the right to this oath, and it actually says it is an oath. So, okay, we're not, we are set to not take an oath as far as, and not swear and so forward. But in regards of making a, I don't know where the line is in regards to this, because if I just have a document and I sign the document, is that taking an oath? No, if I believe what is in the document, I don't think that would be considered an oath. If I'm beginning to say, I don't know. I want to say, I don't know. I still need more research on it. In any case, whatever the case, the information in this piece of, is interesting. So, and I just wanted to find it. Sadly, I don't know why I can't copy. Apparently copy to clipboard, but what have it copied to clipboard? Is it the whole thing here, or is it, why can't I be allowed to actually Maybe it's just a program or something like that, or maybe it's in regards to the PDF. I don't know. Let's see what it actually has. Why is I'm getting... there we go. Well, it does put something in. That's something in regards to swearing. Oh, that's not good. Because when we're told not to swear, further apart from the declaration, there is a requirement that the sovereign before coronation should solemnly swear to maintain the Protestant Reformed religion. And yeah, that's, we're not allowed to swear as Christians. So I think they missed that one. But anyway, and I guess, you could just make a document if the king goes astray in regards of Roman Catholicism. He's not king anymore, right? A document, you don't need to swear, that I swear to uphold this and that. You just make a document. Hey, if you go off and all that, you're not our king anymore. You understand? Okay? You have the position of a king, but if you go with these Roman papers, you are kicked out. That wouldn't go into in regards of an oath, would it? That's just, you have this job of being king in this nation, and if you don't fulfill that job of being a good king in our nation for the people, and going with the Antichrist, you will be discounted as king at that instance. I think that would be, in regards to a document, like if you're not doing your job, you get fired, right? So, why wouldn't a king also be able to be fired by the people that he, the king is to do, in regards of the good for the people, right? So if the king does not do the good for the people, you could just fire him, right? If you fix a document that says, hey, you are king, but if you go under the wings of the Roman emperor in regards to the Antichrist, you are out there. You have discounted yourself as king. I think that would be pretty good instead of going to an oath and all that. Anyway, I'm just thinking. Yeah. So that was the Royal Declaration of England, and I think that was interesting. In regards to so England apparently did not. But why are we still keeping this in Denmark then? Why is Denmark still in regards of the Lutheran Danish state church, which might be the problem, of course, because, if you're going to follow the state and the state is controlled by, closet papists, well, of course, they will try to, and of course, when you have Freemasons in the churches and, infiltrators of, and if you don't have anyone standing against it, everything will be ruined, as it seems like it actually has been in Denmark now. Because nearly no one knows who the Antichrist is. The only one that I actually know in regards of Denmark that actually still stands a little for something is the Seventh-day Adventists. And of course they have their own issues. But at least they are still somewhat in the protest mode in regards to the Antichrist. Why are the Lutheran, the people, the Lutheran church is a state church, right? So if the church does what it should do, every single person in Denmark should know who the Antichrist is. Should know who the whore who rides the beast is. If the church, did what it should do. And we wouldn't be keeping Christmas, or Easter, or the pagan New Year in the winter, or count to 24 or 25 in regards of, Yule in regards to Christmas, or teach our children about Satan Claus and Easter rabbits and all these fairy tales, satanic fairy tales in regards to and in the tooth fairy and gnomes, and it just gets on and on and on with all these deceptive lies, and then you end up mixing Jesus into it. And why should the people, or why should the children think to believe in Jesus when you have told them lies about everything else? And they find out, oh, Satan Claus is a fiction, and the Easter rabbit is fiction, and the tooth fairy is fiction, and the gnomes is fiction. Well, in some sense, fiction, of course. Satan has, the demons have a way of doing their, deceptive things. So, not to say that, they have their ways. Because demons are for real. We don't even believe in demons anymore, because most Danish seems to be atheists and pagan evolutionists. Anyway. It is insane. This is utterly insane. Oh, Denmark, how have you fallen? Fallen long into a lot of crap. Stinking filth. You have had 500 years to do something about these fallacies. And this is where you have come to? Is this really? You should be ashamed. We should be ashamed, We all should be ashamed. And I don't know why anyone would put money in a system that is teaching lies and deceptions and just continuing in regards of the status quo. If the Lutheran shepherds can't do their work, if they're just wolves in sheep clothing, maybe one should use the money, and put the money another place. Or maybe that's what Satan wants, maybe in regards to destroying the Lutheran churches. Maybe we just should just kick out those, what's this? Maybe we should just clean out all those shepherds that can't stand for any truth. If they're not going to repent, if they're Freemasons, what do? Kick them out. If they marry 2 men or 2 women, what do? Kick them out. If they believe in evolution, what do? Well, if they don't want to be, taught in regards to what the Bible actually teaches, kick them out. These shepherds should know their Bible, right? 6 days, and the 7th day God rested and blessed and made holy. In regards of the Saturday, well, actually it's from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. But Saturday would still be closer than Sunday, that's for sure. In regards to the Roman pagan calendar and all that, and having all these pagan names in our calendar. Not only in the weekdays, but in the monthly days as well, and So, when is the real New Year? Maybe I should actually make like a question thing and go and see if if people would like to take a test to see how much they actually know of the Bible. Which day is the 7th day, for example. Is it Sunday or Saturday? How did God create the creation, or how old is the world, or approximately, it's such questions, Who is Jesus Christ? The Son of God. What did he do? Well, he died for the sins of the world on the tree when his body was broken and his wine poured out for the sins of the world. Well, his blood. Once and for all for the sins of the world. You're kidding me. It's like, it just continues with all these stupidities. So England actually came to a point where they understood that this was only symbolic. That is wonderful to see. Wonderful to see that they rejected that. And in regards to the Mariolatry, necromancy as well, why would we pray to dead people, And by the way, the dead people are sleeping, They are awaiting the resurrection, when Jesus are going to resurrect the people that is sleeping. So, Yeah, that's kind of. So now they are, the Roman Catholics believe that they are going to heaven when they die. That's another miss of their filthy religion. And if you don't get directly to heaven as a Roman Catholic, apparently you go to purgatory. And then, of course, people can pay a lot of money to, lessen your time in purgatory. But purgatory is actually upward. I thought it actually would be downward. But anyway, apparently it's upward still. And, it's just a place where you just, is for a time, apparently, before you go to heaven. Which of course is not biblical at all. But who cares about being biblical, right? Because just listen to the Antichrist and everything is okay, right? Because this wicked system says this and that and so forward. So let's not trust the Bible on that, right? That's the when you see the pictures of some of these Roman Catholics and the Jesuits and all that, they have the Bible, right? And where do they have the Bible? Under their feet. You see the symbolic thing in regards to where they have it? They have it under their feet. Now, where does the Protestants have the Bible? When you see their figures in regards of, they have it opened in their hand, standing with it, like they're using it. It's just very clear, just see some of the statues, of the Jesuits and the Reformers, you can see the difference. They are standing with a Bible in the hand because the Reformers wanted the people to read and understand the Bible. That is what we all should do, because Satan has a lot harder or much more difficulty with deceiving us when we know what is in the Bible and grow in the Bible. But if we're not reading it because we are engaged in a lot of fun stuff, all the Roman entertainment in the television, fun stuff that is not worth anything, or playing computer games like for hundreds of hours, well, not only hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, and instead of just, how much time do you think people actually use on this, How much time? I don't think they do. I don't think they use much time on this. It's like, who cares about the Bible these days? Why not? Apparently we want to be fed lies and deceptions instead of actually knowing the truth. Why do you think you go to school? The primary reason to go to school is what? To learn the Bible. The rest is just secondary, The main reason to go to school, the main reason that children are, in regards of being taught or being sent to school, is the Bible. To know the Bible, to be able to read the Bible for themselves, study the Bible and so forward. Everything else is pretty much secondary. That's the main reason for going to school. And if the school system is controlled by the state and the state is corrupted, well, what do you think will happen to the state school system? When the Antichrist is in control, well, it might not be, you might not learn that much in regards to the school system. It's very sad. Very, very, you may learn, but you may learn some, a lot of vanities that have not really any worth, What about learning some real Protestant history, Why did the Protestant protest? Why are the Protestant even named Protestants? Well, because they protested. Well, if they protested, who did they protest against? Well, they protested against the Antichrist, the historical, biblical, prophetic Antichrist, the man of the number 666, the beast. and they, protested against the whore riding the beast, which is Rome, that great city who rules over the kings of the earth, and they protested the Roman little horn of the book of Daniel, who thinks to change times and laws, who knows dark sayings, and who persecute the saints. And it's Roman. So if you can find the Roman emperor in this world, you found the Antichrist. Do you think you can find the Roman emperor in this world? Well, it is getting more and more visible, and they're getting more and more out of the bushes, and, And of course, then there's the Jesuits, the soldiers of Satan who have tried, which I think they pretty much have succeeded on many levels, to get the Protestants back to the Antichrist. You think they have succeeded? Well, I think they have pretty much succeeded a lot on many levels, because no one talks about who the Antichrist is. And now you see the so-called Protestants, because how can you be a Christian Protestant if you're not protesting on knowing who you protest? You're not a Protestant anymore. And if you're running back to the Antichrist, you're more likely a Catholic than a Protestant. Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. A Roman papist. Oh, wait. People are getting, the world is getting deceived by this wicked system. Anyway, I don't know what more to say. I'm just, I want to go on and listen to more of these goodies. Tom Fresh, he really is, in regards of history and all that, he has some really good gold nuggets, that's for sure. And reading some of these Protestant books, I love that. Now, he might have some errors here and there, I think he has, but so does everybody else, You can always find something that you can pick out in somebody, and I'm like, eat the meat and spit out the bones. And there might be some wolves in sheep clothing, and there might be some information from these wolves in sheep clothing that is actually, pretty good still, but they might mix it with something that is false. And of course, the more you know your Bible, the easier it gets to discern what is right and what is wrong, and so forward, and you get more experience and so forward. And but that's not to say that's still hard on men, there's always deceptions out. Satan seems to always try to make it hard for you, But when you begin to get the things in, even if it has taken me years to realize who Jesus Christ is, what the purpose of life is and all that, and who the Antichrist is, that took me, in regards to the Antichrist, that took me, have taken me some years, to find out who the Antichrist is, because, I got into this deception of, the Mohammedans because of this Roman Catholic guy, which I didn't know was a Roman Catholic at that point, found out later that he was a Roman Catholic, and then everything makes sense, of course. Of course, in regards to scripture, it didn't really make sense in regards to what he was promoting, So that was the main reason why I began to, question it. It's many years ago, I guess, but it's on my Facebook when I was into, so one could, of course, just go back and look what I... you get, they're trying, Satan will try on so many levels. And you do get tired of it because there's so many, it's just all the time. The Mohammedans, the Roman Catholics, whatever is out there trying to deceive you, and trying to make fun of you. For example, if you believe that the world is only around 6,000 years, Oh, you don't really believe in that, do you? Yeah, I do. You don't really believe that the world is 13.8 billion years, do you? So you can, of course, kick it back. Anyway, so yeah, I believe that the world was created in 6 days, 6 pretty much literal days, and that the 7th day God rested. And he blessed and sanctified it and set it apart and made it holy from the rest of the days. And it's not Sunday. Of course, that's in regards of another corruption that happened in Denmark in 1972 when we got into the European Union. And in 1973, we had the first year that Sunday was the last day of the week, according to man. Because the law of God, of course, doesn't change. And, it's still the 7th day is still the 7th day. And Sunday is still the first day of the week. But anyway, that was changed in our calendars and all that in 1973. And no one seems to know in Denmark, or very, 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 very few. So if you find a calendar in Denmark, for example, before 1973, well, Saturday is the last day of the week. We can change all these things. We can change all these things. It's just a matter of wanting to change these things on the level of the people. Of course, it would be nice in regards of the government as well doing, these things. But I think we have to have the people's hearts changed, to really change things. But it would be nice if the government could actually stand for some truth instead of, doing all these deceptive stupidities and wicked, doctrines on the... I actually just saw an article that they were like talking about this Sunday law 115 years ago in Denmark or something like that. In regards of Sunday law, in regards of a day of rest, and that shops was not allowed to be open and all that. Well, they took the wrong day. I wouldn't. Actually, I would support that shops were closed on the Sabbath because that's the day of rest. Every shop should be closed on the Sabbath. You shouldn't be able to trade or buy or anything on the Sabbath. Every single shop in Denmark should be closed. Besides the very, very necessary ones, and of course in regards of work as well. In regards of the hospitals or whatever, the things that really is necessary for helping people and all that. I think that would be okay. But everything else that we can stop, we should stop. So everything that is not necessary, people on that needs help will still need help, and I don't think that would go against anything to help the old and to help the sick and so forward, even if it's a Sabbath and so forth. But anyway, everything else should be closed. Everything else. In regards of shopping, shouldn't be able to shop. And of course, the Saturday should just be the last day of the week in regards to just moving the week just this way. So you have Sunday being the first work day, which of course, in regards to the names, I think we should change the names. Just first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, or the day of preparation, because it would be the day of preparation for the Sabbath, the 7th day. So you in regards to the shops are going to be closed on the Sabbath, so you prepare the day before. So it's a day of preparation. So we as a society and people know more of biblical ways and doing them, and as we do them, we also learn, and it becomes a lot easier to understand and read this. By doing, we will have, also our children as well. If we teach our children the festivals of Jehovah and not these stupidity pagan festivals of vanity and empty air, this will be easier to understand. But now, I didn't grow up with Bible in any way, I didn't know anything about the Bible. I have to put in the interest in the children from the beginning, and teach them and instruct them in the law, which we're told to do, And now, of course, in Denmark, we're murdering our own children, and we are making whores out of both women and men. And then we're slaughtering the weakest in society. We have nearly murdered in cold blood, 1 million children in this nation since 1973 to 2018, I think. I think it's 860,000 something, That's terrible, bad. We should really, really be ashamed of that. In regards of having sex outside marriage, yeah, and of course we can thank the feminists in regards of all these things, and hatred of men as well, Hatred of men, free sex, and murder on the weakest, Because the women thinks they have the right for another person's life or another organism. You see, the child that grows, or the organism, whatever you want, that is growing in the mother's womb, because she might have spread her legs to a stranger or whatever, because she wanted to have some fun stuff and commit whoredom. But anyway, so she became pregnant. Now that child or organism that is growing inside of her have its own DNA code. It's not her. So if she wants to decide over her own body, well, keep those legs shut. That's the way you choose, right? If you don't want to be pregnant, don't have sex, okay? You have the pro-choice until, that moment. When you spread your legs, for some man, you have pretty much chosen what you want. And from there on, I'm pro-life. Sorry to say. Well, sorry. I'm not sorry to say that. Because I was deceived to believe this satanic deception and lie. And I was a murderer. A plain, stinking, filthy murderer. I had murder in my heart because I did not believe that this, we're told, it's just a foster and blah, blah, blah. Bullshit, satanic lie and deception. Oh, and we're too many people. Bullshit, satanic deception. It's funny, Tell the people, we're too many here in Europe and all that. Hey, we are too little, and then tell the rest of the world, hey, there's too few people in Europe. Come into Europe, And this thing of, if we can educate the women, they will get less children. Like it's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing. Way. Get the women educated and they will have less children. And of course, they will go for the career. And then we will be 40, fat and finished. And they will cry their eyes out because they did follow this satanic deception and trusted in that instead of getting some children, finding a good husband in their youth, and popping out some babies, Well, 15 wouldn't be bad, If you start early, like 19 or maybe 17, you should be at a point where you begin to be at that level that the body has no issues in regards of. And you can just pop out, a huge amount of babies, and be the sustainer of the family, The glue supporting your husband as well so he can stay strong against all these deceptions of Satan, So support him and, be a good wife or housewife. That's a good thing. And if you treat your man and your husband good and all that and don't nag him too much and all that, I'm sure you will be happy, 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 happy. And you will not end up 40 fat and finish and hitting the wall and crying your eyes out that, oh, you didn't get any children. You wasted your youth. You wasted it on education that is not educating you in regards of actually being a mom. And then you went out for a career, getting money, 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 and and the feminist idea of, hey, you can do it, everything, and blah, 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 and all that. And then you're 40, having fun and this and that, and now you are 40, fat and finished, and hitting the wall. And the value is just down the drain, and you didn't find a husband, Well, maybe you fooled around, Or maybe you have a child without a husband. Yeah, that's not good either. Anyway, getting a little off track, I guess. But we have so many problems in this country, and feminism have destroyed a huge amount of things. And I have no idea why no one actually stood up against it, Were there no Christians to stand up against this filthy, satanic, murderous group of feminists? Full of darkness in their hearts, full of fornication and wanting to be whores. And if it happened that they became pregnant, they should have the choice to, murder their child. Just go into the website and read what they actually stand for. It's just disgusting, filthy. And of course they hate in regards of the patriarchy, in regards of men actually. Hey, do you really want the, emotional disturbed woman to lead the family? Or do you want a man that is, less emotional? What do you think is the better choice for leading the family? Emotional, disturbed woman, a man that is more like a 0 or 1 in regards of, more stable. Yeah. I think I would have the man to actually lead the family instead of the woman, Why would you, that's not logic to the patriarchy, what, you're insane. Utterly insane. Totally outrageous up here. You women are just totally, crazy. Pretty much crazy. If you don't have a man, you just go totally nutcase. Totally nutcase. You need to have some control because, you get into all this, and now we have nearly murdered 1 million innocent children in this, And then they will say, we need the workforce from the outside. Hey, we just murdered, nearly 1 million of our own children, If you're talking about workforce, maybe we should change something in the country instead of importing, outsiders. Well, it might be the idea, right? No, of course not in these, these times of, mingling it all together and, what is it called? Having some culture enrichment like the Mohammedans, right? Yeah, let's have, a pagan religion, and let's just import this pagan religion that loves to kill off Christians, real Christians, and chop their head off and, pretty much hate, yes. The world is just, gone total nutcase, These Mohammedans believe in a God that has no son. It's not the same God as found in the Bible. When people say, we worship the same God. Yeah, well, then in regards to Roman Catholics and Mohammedans, that might be true. They might actually both be worshipping Satan, but that doesn't make it better for, Christians. And so, yeah. So when the Antichrist collects all the, the leaders of these different religions and blah blah blah, and we worship the same God and all that. Hey, that might actually be true in regards of, you're all worshiping Satan. And if you're not going to repent and look to Jesus Christ, the real Jesus Christ, not the cookie and not the only prophet and all that, hey, you're going to be cast into the lake of fire. That's just how it is. Hey, you have the free choice to, of course, do what you will, but in regards of, in regards of free choice of just doing what, it's not always a good thing to just do what you want, This freedom of religion might actually not be that good, Because freedom of religion could easily take you on the wrong path. Like your parents are just throwing you into Satan's candy store. And it's like, they will be like, oh, he'll figure it out. Yeah, that's a real good thing to do, right? No, it's insane. Because we're told in the Bible that we should instruct our children in the law of Jehovah. In the good way, not in the broad way that leads to destruction. That's evil. It's utterly evil not to teach our children the truth. It's insane. Why are you people teaching children about a man that rides around in a, thingy and with 8 things? So I'm still thinking I'm still having something in my foot. The problem is I can't find it. I think I have like a glass thing in my foot, but I haven't been able to. It might just be a small one. It's really hard to find. Sometimes, always issues. Anyway, so who is the Antichrist? Who is the Jesuits? And who is Jesus Christ? That's the first and foremost thing to find out. Who is Jesus Christ really? So you need to read the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then grow from there. And be careful of Paul. Jesus warned us about wolves in sheep clothing, and that would look like the real thing, and if it was possible to deceive the elect. And he also told about an enemy would come and sow the bad, poisonous seeds among the good eatable weed. So just be careful of Paul. Just a warning. That's not to say that, he does tell a lot of truth and a great witness in regards of Jesus Christ, but he also leads people into lawlessness. And that's a problem. So, anyway, and a lot of other issues actually. So be careful of Paul. Be careful. Just be careful. Just be careful. That's my suggestion in regards of Paul. Yeah. So, Jesus, first came and sowed the good eatable weed. And then an enemy would come, according to Jesus, sowing the bad poisonous seeds. And, the darnel looks a lot like the wheat. You can see, you can find the images of it. It does have differences, so you can, but it looks, kind of the same. And they're growing up together until the harvest, and the harvest is still future. So we, of course, are to expect the poisonous seeds to, be with the good eatable, law-abiding seeds. So, anyway, I think I'll stop here, But Jesus are telling people that even call him Lord, Lord, haven't we done this and that and so forward? And he says, verily, verily, I say to you, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Lawlessness. Which law is he talking about? Do you think he's talking about the Antichrist law? The Roman law? Or do you think he's talking about the law of the Bible? Oh, he's a Jew, right? So what law could he possibly be talking about? The law of God, the law of Jehovah. And in regards to the Greek, it's onomo, I think, onomo. And in regards of being without law. So anyway, but yeah. And this, of course, would be in the future that Jesus is talking about, that there will be some people saying, Lord, Lord, haven't we done wonderful things and mighty, and prophesied in your name and driven out demons in your name and so forward and so forward. And he rejects them and say, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. I didn't really understand, why he would reject anyone calling him Lord, Lord, and so forward. Before I began to study Roman Catholicism, And their cookie Jesus. You see, the Roman Catholics is all, confessing that they believe in Jesus Christ and so forward. But what they really believe in is in a cookie. It's a cookie. And they are allowed to worship the cookie. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter if it's a tree or a stone or, or the world, or, an idol, an image, or a cookie. It doesn't really matter. If you're worshipping something that is not God, you're worshipping the devil, that old snake, and deceiver and liar and murderer. So, and you don't want to do that, do you? So, they can say this and that. Oh yeah, the cookie becomes God and blah, blah, blah. Well, I guess I can go out and find a tree and, say something about that and say, hey, now the tree has become God. It's just stupid. It's utterly, or a stone or whatever, We're not to worship the creation. So they set this cookie on the altar with, sunburst around it, so Catholics can come and do the disgusting filth. Or they go, they put it in this monstrance and then they walk around with it. It's just, what are you people doing, So, but anyway, that's the Catholic God. It's the cookie. It's the round sun cookie. Looks like the sun. Putting in a sunburst, rays, Maybe it has something to do with, pagan sun worship. Oh, in regards of Sol Invictus, in regards of Christmas being the birth of the sun god Sol Invictus, and Sunday being in regards to the venerated day of the pagan sun god Sol Invictus, the unconquerable sun god. Huh? Hey, apparently it's too hard to open a lexicon for most people out there. Or they just don't want to know the truth. You people have to be kidding me, I don't... you have to stop lying, and deceiving and acknowledging that the truth is the truth. And the truth does not become a lie just because you believe in something else to be the truth, The truth stays the truth, even if 99.99999% of the people in the world believe the lie. The truth is the truth. It's not a democracy, okay? It's not a democracy. You have 8 people surviving the worldwide flood, and there might have been a huge amount of numbers of people at that time. And yet only 8 people survived. Because there was only evil continual in the hearts of the men, of the people in those days. They have totally corrupted themselves. Do you think that God is the same as he was yesterday? Because if God is the same yesterday, well, and we know God hates sin, well, we have a problem. And God provided Jesus for us as a ransom. So, his blood put out for the sins of the world once and for all. But sin is still sin, and the law has not been abolished. Where do you see the law being abolished? Of course, if you go to Paul, you might see something in the letters of Paul. But again, Jesus warned us about an enemy that would come. And in regards of warning us about wolves in sheep clothing. So when Paul is leading people into lawlessness, there might be a problem there, So anyway, you see, when Jesus went to the tree, the Passover lamb didn't take upon himself the law. The Passover lamb, or the living bread that, was put up on the tree, took upon himself the sins of the world upon himself. Now, sin is transgression of the law. But he didn't take the law up on the tree. He took the sins, the transgressions that we have done in regards of, what is it called? Breaking the law of God. That is what he took upon himself, and the blood poured out for the sins of the world, the transgressions, the breaking that we have, what is it called? When you break the law, So, is the law still valid? Well, we have future prophecies that seems to indicate, the law is still valid. And Jesus just, put the scale of it to another level, He was not breaking the law. He was just taking it out on another level, to show us, whether that's the goal that we are going to, if we are disciples of Jesus Christ, what is a disciple? Well, a disciple should become as what? As his master. So how was it Jesus was, going around doing things? Did he keep the Sabbath? Oh yeah. He actually had a custom of going to the synagogue or the house of assembly on the seventh day. Not on Sunday, but the seventh day. Yeah. But anyway, it's not that, hard to... I think it's pretty, easy to understand that if Jesus is our master and we are disciples, well, disciples should become as his master. That's not to say that we are perfect, but that should be the goal that we, are going for. And our master, was without sin. He was the spotless, sinless, what's it called? Spotless, sinless, perfect, Lamb of God. So if that is our goal, well, that's our goal. Anyway, I think I'll stop now. It might not even work in regards of YouTube and all that, but, So I'll just listen, to more of the things, and I'm kind of tired today. Well, I guess I'm tired all the time. Yeah. One way heading for the grave to sleep at some point. But before I'm going to leave this world, as long as there's breath in my mouth or, being, well, as long as, I will try to stand for the truth as good as I can. But that's not to say that I'm perfect, There's a lot of things to learn, and there's a lot of papers, everywhere, and a lot of research to do and all this, and, a lot of things to read and study and grow and all that. But, yeah. Well, do the best that I can, in regards to standing for the truth. And hopefully not making too many mistakes. And hopefully you out there will begin to wake up and begin to do the same. The more that we are, the better. the more that begins to, dig in regards of truth, and it seems also that, we have our strength in different categories. Some are good at this and some are good at that. Some find interest in this and some find interest in that, and so forward. And everything can come together, and grow in the right direction, and, slam all those mosquitoes, that is, when you read the scriptures and all these mosquitoes are flying around, if you can smash a lot of these mosquitoes, it will make it a lot easier to actually understand what is going on and grow and stop keeping these pagan stupidities. 500 years, and this is where Denmark has come to. 500 years. We have to be really ashamed of ourselves. Really, really, really ashamed. This is shameful. Utterly shameful. No, not only that, of course, now we are killing the weakest in the society. We should be ashamed, and we are not, And then we have all these pride things in regards of homosexual and whatever, what is it called? Sodomy. Promoting also this in regards of children. You have the Mohammedans that are following the perfect, as they see it, the perfect example of Muhammad, who had sex with a 9-year young girl when he was 54 years old. You people disgust me, that's just utterly disgusting. How can you see a man like that as the perfect example? Now, of course, I know there's a lot of, twisters, and some will defend it and blah, blah. Oh, it's just, it was another time in regards of this and that and whatever. Trying to twist that, oh, she was 9-year young girl. I'm tired of your bullshit, and I'm tired of your lies and your deceptions. And, if you want the truth, you need to come to Christ, and not in regards of your own fictive imagination of Muhammad or the Roman Catholic cookie. You guys are out of your mind. If you want the truth, then come to the truth and leave all these pagan lies and deceptions of Satan. Stop defending these stupidities. And I'm not a hate speecher. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. It have taken me years and years and years. I went into Satan's candy store, and I ate of these different flavors that is found in many different flavors, and it's a miracle that I got out of it. It's an utter miracle that I got out of Satan's candy store. I had this New Testament laying around. I was so close of throwing it out. And I'm glad I didn't. Yeah. Life doesn't become easier if when you become a Christian. But at least you're standing for some truth instead of promoting these lies of the snake, I was promoting a lot of this snake oil. I guess that might actually be a very good word, snake oil. I was promoting a lot of snake oil, and in regards of reincarnation, for example, or that I am God and I see myself in you, and blah blah blah. And if I throw a stone against you, it's a stone thrown against myself, and blah blah blah. It sounds pretty good, but it's still not true. You see, the broad road leads to eternal death. If you're going to follow a blind guide like Muhammad, a clear wolf, and you even have the Christians telling you, "Hey, you got you got a false prophet," and you just continue, 1.8 billion people, and you still continue to follow him. What is wrong with you up here? Is something wrong up here? Has something just broken totally up there? When people are warning you, hey, Muhammad was a false prophet, hey, maybe you should take notice and listen, instead of continuing to following him and defending him. You have a wrong Jesus. You have a Jesus that is only a prophet. Jesus was not just a prophet, he was God's son and God in the flesh. And he died for the sins of the world. You reject all these things, Muhammad is a clear, stinking wolf. Any Christian should be able to smell Muhammad miles away. It is a lot harder with the wolves in sheep clothing. But anyway, and their cookie Jesus and their idolatry and their filthiness and all that, that's, Anyway, I don't know what the Christian, those people calling themselves Christians, and then they are bowing down before cookies and statues and images and, what is going on with people? Don't they read their Bible? No, apparently traditions, which might not be biblical. Well, the traditions, yeah, but who made up these traditions? Could it be that those traditions comes from the father of lies and deceptions? I don't know what to do. But anyway, in any case, just people don't care. It doesn't matter what, I don't know even if I got on television and told people these things, if they, there might be some, and of course one person saved is better, it's wonderful, it's, So I guess, I'll still stand, I guess you never know what your life is going to affect. You might be just, affecting one person, but that one person might be someone that ends up affecting maybe millions of people. Who knows, And then you were the, instigator or something like that, to get that person to see the truth. And then you might only have turned around one soul, but that soul might have, turned around a million, and thereby, you were part of that. So anyway, use whatever you have to stand for the truth as best as you possibly know. Use whatever you have and grow. It doesn't take from one day to the next day, because there's so many lies and deceptions out there. And of course, the first thing you have to find out, who is Jesus Christ? Read the books of Matthew, Mark, Lucas, and John. When you have read those 4 books, and they're not really that long, you can read them pretty quickly. Even if you're a slow reader, as I am, it's not that, And when you begin to understand who Jesus Christ is, and you might actually be totally annihilated when you read them, if you haven't read them, because you might think that you are a good person. When you read those 4 books, you might find out, hey, I'm actually not a good person. I'm actually a very bad person. And I've actually committed a lot of sins, and I need salvation, I'm a sinner and I need salvation. And where are you going to find that salvation? Repentance and looking to Jesus Christ. So, and in regards of my nails, it's because it's the last part of the month, so I'm still trying this out in regards of seeing if I could actually go a month without, fixing my nails. So I could actually also use it to know where we are in the month and all that, like looking at the moon, in regards to the month and all that. So the same thing with my, with fixing my, and my hair and all that. But, anyway, it would have been nice if I could just have I have issues with that. But again, of course, every single generation, we have more and more mistakes in our program code. So thereby, the people in the past was closer to the, the original code. We call it DNA, but anyway. I think it was like 60 to 100 more mutations there is from every single generation. So you see, every single generation that we have more mutations, so thereby, because not only is it like these 60 and 100, 60 to 100 mutations you have from every single generation, but you also have them from the other generation. So it adds up to these mistakes from every single generation. It's going downward, people. It's not going uphill. It's going downward. And everything is going downhill. Creation is going downhill. Our code is going downhill. People could live over 900 years in the past. We don't live that long. And actually, it's not only the Bible that talks about people living a long time after the flood. Now, after the flood, it began to go downhill very quickly. Before the flood, people lived could live over 900 years. After the flood, it began to go down, but it didn't go like from here to here. It's like a wave in some sense. So it takes some time to get down the level. So people after the flood were still living a long time, and you have historical proof of that as well, where it talks about that people lived a long time, and that's what the Bible says. So, of course, that is to be expected as well, to find historical proof of that. Now, of course, people will just say, it's just, when they find something like that, oh, it must be a myth or whatever, people couldn't live 200, 300 or 400 years, that seems outrageous, so just, but they could. And they did. And you can learn a lot in 900 years, by the way, before the flood. You could probably also have a lot of children, Now, of course, we don't know in regards of how long the women could actually bear children. Now we are like 40, 45 years or something like that, and women are hitting the wall, and it's done, it's over. We do not know how it was for women, when they could live 900 years, But anyway, they might have had an extended time of actually being able to have children, and they would have been closer to the original code as well. So living 900 years, they would also have been probably more healthy, more fit, and in regards of nourishment as well, also being a lot better. We have some things that looks like that there was actually all the minerals and all that in the earth and the top layer, but it's not in the top layer anymore, and that might be because of a worldwide flood. But we have some things that seems to indicate that all the minerals might have been in the top soil before the flood. So our body would get what it needs, so we wouldn't, so that would be another factor. We also see, the creation itself was also a lot better, it seems, so there's a lot of factors that fixes into why we could live 900 years, which seems extraordinary in our days. But when you actually look on the science behind it and look on the observations that we have, it's actually not that far-fetched that people could live 900 years before, or over 900 years. It's really not that far-fetched. If you begin to study in regards to creation, finding out that evolution is just a pagan, satanic lie and all that, you can follow it back to India long before Darwin made it popular in the West. But anyway, lots of evidence, or things that points to why. More oxygen, probably also more carbon dioxide, or what do you call it, carbon? Yeah, CO2, CO2 it is. Carbon dioxide, yeah, I think it's called. Anyway, so things were probably growing faster, larger, we got more oxygen in our body. The pressure might have been greater in regards of also helping us breathe easily and so forward, and press the oxygen out in the body and so forward. And again, the nourishment might have been a lot better as well. Yeah, and such things, and the DNA code, of course, would have been closer to the original, so there wouldn't have been that many mutations yet, and thereby wouldn't even be it would not be a problem if you actually married a sister or something like that, because you wouldn't have these mutations at that point, or very few mutations. Now, of course, in the Bible, in our days, we're not allowed to marry our sister or so forward. That's something, and that might be in regards of the code now being so, that's also, people we're not allowed to marry that, that is in our family and so forward. That is not in regards of genetic, but, but still wrong. But anyway, in the past, in the beginning, it might, when people are saying, well, who did he marry? Well, he married a sister, most likely, And, well, it's not recorded that, if you look at the Bible, it doesn't always record every single detail, and every single name of this and that and so forward. It just, you need to use your brain a little, So, and they could have married a sister at that point without any problems in regards to the DNA code or anything like that, as, because wouldn't have been all those mistakes. Anyway, so, yeah. Yep. Satan tries to, do a lot of, things, weird things, and, try to outsmart the Bible. Yeah. And he have been trying to do that for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Well, so have to be aware. Anyway, may Jehovah bless you, and Yeshua be that most precious pearl. And when you find him, don't let go of him. And may the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Amen. Bye-bye.